Hey guys, my name is Tito. I make videos on personal finance on my other channel. On this channel, I talk about other things like today when I'll be counting down my favorite Nollywood films of 2022. Now, 2022 was an interesting year in Nollywood. We saw all sorts. We saw impressive action. We saw breakout performances. We saw a little bit of horror. Heck, we even saw some nudity. But I think by and large, we saw more subpar films in 2022 than we did good ones, right? I mean, if in a month I saw 5 Nollywood films, 4 of those films would have been rubbish. But you see that one good film would have been really good. So in honor of all the good films that I saw from Nollywood this year, 2022, here are my top 8 Nollywood films of 2022. And if you want to find out why this is a top 8 rather than a top 10, well, just stick around to the end of the video to find out. Before we dive into it, guys, you know what's coming next. Please do me a favor and like this video by clicking on the like button and subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. Doing those two things would really mean a lot to me. If you really want to knock my socks off, then feel free to share this video with any one of your friends, family members, or anyone in your WhatsApp groups, really. Number 8, Country Hard. Country Hard is a 2021 drama that was released on Prime Video this year, 2022, and it follows the lives of a handful of young Nigerians as they struggle to survive amidst severe suffering and hopelessness, which is actually the reality for many Nigerians today. And why I wanted to see this film is because it got a few nominations at this year's AMVCAs, and Omomi Dada actually won the award for Best Supporting Actress for her role in this film.
And this is to every female actor working tirelessly to make it big. We shall go in Jesus' name.
Now, why this film is in my top 8 is because the storytelling was actually really good. It was very creative. And I like how the gritty and harsh reality of the characters in this film really depicted the reality of many Nigerians today. And I like how at the end of the movie, a lot of their stories were interconnected. So yeah, that's why this film is at number 8 on my top 8 of 2022. Number 7, A Simple Lie. A Simple Lie is a drama comedy about a tangled set of relationships and friendships amongst a group of individuals. The film pretty much focuses on 5 mysterious characters, and the film is directed by one of my Nollywood favorites, Biodun Stephen. Now, what stood out in this film for me was, funny enough, the costume design. The costume design in this film was the best of any of the films, I think, in this top 8. And the set design too was actually very decent. This film was very aesthetically pleasing, and if you're the kind of person who appreciates the styling of characters in the film, then you must see this film. It was that good, and I really enjoyed how lovely things looked from the actors and how they were dressed to the ways the set was designed. It wasn't lost on me. Another thing I liked about this film is the fact that the dialogue was emotionally charged, because in this film there's lots of conflict, there's a bit of tension, and when there's that kind of thing in a Biodun Stephen film, Biodun Stephen she typically gets her actors to rev it up, and you really feel the tension between the characters, and I could really feel it as I was watching this movie. And I think that this film was a good example of great acting colliding with great writing, because this film was actually very well written. And finally, again, this film had my best performances from Bisola Ayola and Bolaji Ogumola. I've seen both women in a number of films in 2022, but my favorite performances from both of them were in this film, A Simple Lie. Number 6, Collision Course. Collision Course is about Mide, an up-and-coming musician and soon-to-be father who has a couple of traumatic experiences with law enforcement officers. And this film is loosely based on the events that led up to the EndSARS protests of 2020. Now, Collision Course was the most controversial film from Nollywood in 2022, in my opinion. People were incredibly divided about the film. Some people, like me, really loved it, while other people really hated it. They felt like it didn't properly honor what the EndSARS protests were about back in 2020 and what the whole thing stood for. Now, personally, I enjoyed it. I like the fact that it placed a focus on something that's very relevant and pertinent in our society today, which is police brutality. So I liked it on that account. It was a very relevant, very pertinent message that told the story from both sides, and also as a Nigerian, this film felt incredibly personal to me, and honestly, I don't think any other film that I've seen, especially this year, touched me the way that Collision Course touched me. It felt incredibly personal. Number 5, The Griot. Like Collision Course, The Griot made a big splash at AFRIF of 2021, and it got on Netflix in 2022. And it's about Somi, this young man who is a storyteller in a village, and he rises to fame for telling captivating stories which secretly are written or created by his very shy friend Lakunle. However, their arrangement hits the rocks when both men fall for the same woman. Now, this film, to be honest, was a surprise hit of 2022 from Nollywood. No one saw it coming, but everyone really, well, most people, I wouldn't say everyone, I do know 1 or 2 people who didn't like it, but most people really thoroughly enjoyed the film. And why they enjoyed it and why it's in my top 8 is because this was a very story-driven movie, and the story was very unique and captivating. It was simple as well, but it was told in a very unique manner. And also, I think this film, particularly for me, I enjoyed it because they did a whole lot with what looked like very little. I don't know how better to explain it, but I think you get the point. They did a lot with a little in this film, and the acting too was sufficient. It wasn't mind-blowing in my opinion, but it was quite good, and I really enjoyed this film. This film would have actually been in the top 3 in this countdown if it had ended in a better way than it did. For those of you who've seen The Griot, you know what I'm talking about. Number 4, Anikulapo. For the 3 of you who haven't seen Anikulapo for whatever reason, the film is about a young man who lived in a small town in southwestern Nigeria during colonial times, and he possessed the ability to raise people from the dead, an ability that he had only for a limited time because hubris ultimately got the best of him. Now, this film was arguably the biggest Nollywood film on a streaming platform in 2022. The scale of the production and the extras and just everything that went into it was just really big and grand in this film. And it had so many talking points. People couldn't get enough of this film once it came out in cinemas and on Netflix. And why it's in my top 8 is, first of all, the promotion of Yoruba culture and heritage. This film is entirely in Yoruba, and that's kind of synonymous with Kunle Afolayan's films, but I love the fact that even though it's in an indigenous language, it still did amazing numbers all over the world. Secondly, the costume and the costume designs, they were really good. Acting in the film was fantastic, from Kunle Remi, Shola Shobowale, Bimbo Ademoye. Everyone did fantastic in the movie. I wouldn't be surprised to see lots of nominations for some of the actors in the film. And then the sets and the locations of this film were very impressive. I really appreciated that they went to places that we've never seen before in Nollywood films to produce this movie. And finally, the lesson behind the film, which was basically hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. It really made the film very relatable for many people who saw the movie. Juju Stories. Juju Stories is a 3-part anthology feature film based on Nigerian folk tales with supernatural themes. And this film was a thriller/horror, and it was what I call the most breath of fresh air film from Nollywood that I saw in 2022. Everything about this film was different, and it was so refreshing. The shot composition was brilliant. The sound editing and sound design in this film was unlike anything I've heard in Nollywood in a very long time. The acting was raw and unhinged. The filmmaking was unconventional and brilliant. Things were just working so well in this film. It didn't last for too long. It was, I think, just over 90 minutes, but everything was making sense. Everything was visually pleasing. Everything was engaging in this film. This was one of the few films I saw in 2022 that as I was watching it, I knew that this film was going to be in my list of best films of the year. I thoroughly enjoyed this film, and I was pained that more people didn't see it when it came out in cinemas back in January or February. But luckily, eventually it got on one of the streaming platforms, and more people have seen it. If you haven't seen it, please, I think it's on Prime Video, check it out. Juju Stories. Number 2, Brotherhood. Brotherhood is the Jadi Oshiberu produced action film about two brothers on opposite sides of the law, and I think that this film had some of the most impressive visuals that we saw from Nollywood in 2022, and in my opinion, it had some of the most impressive stunts and action sequences that I've ever seen in a Nollywood film, period. I think this film is at this point a Nollywood classic. People are going to refer to it for years and years to come, and it was a very daring film. The action sequences were impressive and the stunts as well. The acting was good, the styling was impressive, the lighting was particularly impressive for me. I remember mentioning that when I reviewed the movie a few months ago, and this film reintroduced everyone to Toby Bakare as a competent action star, and we don't have that many action stars in Nollywood or action films, and this movie really did a thing for Toby Bakare, in my opinion. This film was really impressive, and I think for many people this will actually be their number one film of 2022 from Nollywood. And finally, my number one film from Nollywood for 2022 is Yahoo Plus. I realize that I'm probably going to stand alone in calling this film my top film of the year, but I stand by it. This film was brilliant. It's about two young men in Enugu who are willing to go to extreme lengths because they're fed up with life and fed up with Nigeria, and they do some pretty criminal things, right? I'll leave it at that. However, this film was the most unassuming film that I saw from Nollywood in 2022. I went into the cinema expecting this film to be trash and actually not even knowing what this film was about, but I came out of the cinema thoroughly impressed, and by that night at home, I got on social media and I hyped this film. My friend Demi, who also saw it, he hyped the film. We told all our friends on social media to go and see it. We drummed up a lot of support for the film, and I just hope that when it gets on a streaming platform, people will see it in record numbers. This film was brilliant. Storytelling, A+. Dialogue and one-liners, A+. Filmmaking style and creativity, A+. I mean, this film, it just checked off all the boxes. It kind of did look low budget, but to be honest, it kind of made the film that more impressive for me. Now, the problem you guys are going to have when you eventually see Yahoo Plus is that now you have expectations. You know, Tito has said it was his best Nollywood film of 2022. So you may not be blown away as much as I was, but I still stand by it. It was a very good film. And I also stand by the fact that this film is not for everyone. I think I said it in my review a few months ago that not everyone will love this film because there aren't big name stars in it and it's not like glossy and shiny and all that. But if you like a good story, if you like good dialogue, if you like the sound of Igbo language, oh my goodness, you will really, really enjoy this film. I knew it the day I saw it that unless I see another film that's better than Yahoo Plus, this film is going to be my number one film of 2022. And as it was that night in May, so it is this evening of December 2022. Yahoo Plus, my number one for the year. So there it is, guys, my top 8 Nollywood films of 2022. Now, why this isn't a top 10 is because I honestly couldn't think of 2 other films that I liked enough to add to this top 10, which is ironic because in my top 10 worst Nollywood films of 2022, link in the corner of the screen, I could easily come up with 15 to 20 films that irked me and that I really hated from Nollywood in 2022. Super easy, but I limited it to 10. But ironically, in my top, what's meant to be my top 10, I couldn't come up with 10. You guys, please, if you liked this video, like it by clicking on the like button and subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. Remember, I asked you earlier, some of you still didn't do it. I don't know why. Please like and subscribe. And I want to thank you guys for rocking with me in 2022. I started this channel, Tito's second channel, with the Chief Daddy 2 review back in January of 2022. It's 12 months later. It's been a whole year. The channel is now monetized. I've met the requirements. I'm now at from 0 subscribers back, with the Chief Daddy 2 review to now over 1,200 subscribers. I am beside myself. I'm tickled pink. I'm so happy. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the views. Thanks for sharing. Thanks to many of you. There are so many of you that rock with me on a weekly basis when I put out these videos. I see you in the comments. I chat with some of you in the DMs. I appreciate you guys so much. It's hard to believe that I'm here now. 1,002 in YouTube terms doesn't seem like a lot, But if you've been on a year-long journey like I've been, it's a lot. And I'm very happy. I'm very thankful to each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much. If you guys had like buttons and subscribe buttons, I'd click on each and every one of them. This will probably be my last video for the year. Feel free to check out my other reviews by checking out the videos on my channel and my relationship videos as well. There are cards in the corner of the screen for you to easily find your way to those videos. Thank you guys so much. Compliments of the season. Happy New Year to you if you're watching this in 2023. Let's hope that 2023 brings us a lot more impressive movies from Nollywood in the year, and let's hope that I don't have a tough time finding 10 ones that I love by the end of 2023. Thank you guys so much once again. God bless you. Compliments of the season. Happy New Year. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.